What's up,
What up,
man?
what up, Playboy? You good?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good, man. Just chilling. First and foremost, man, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to do this, man. I really appreciate it. Your music has played a role in a lot of pivotal moments in my life, a lot of memories, man. I'm a huge fan, so thank you for taking the time, man.
Well, no, I appreciate you, bro. How about you? How you doing? You good?
Oh, man, I'm good. Just, surviving the quarantine, just trying to figure out other ways to get creative. Been doing this interview shit.
Oh, now you have to, bro. You got to stay working. You got to stay moving. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, man, I'm not a media guy. I don't want to hit you with no bullshit. Basically, I just want to chop it up real cool, man. Like I said, big fan. And just get your journey. And I know like a lot of up and coming artists watch this and they've been gaining a lot of knowledge as well as myself, just from learning from people who've done it before. So, yeah, man, I just want to start off at the beginning if that's cool with you.
Shit. Let's do it. Let's go.
Cool, man. So I know your sister was the first singer in your household, your big sister, Quinice. How much of a role did she play in you becoming a fan of music in the beginning?
Well, she wasn't the first. All right, let me correct that. She wasn't the first singer in my household, but
No.
she was the first singer in my immediate family, meaning, brothers, sisters, siblings type thing. You know what I mean? But my mom is the one that passed it down to us. You know what I mean? But with her, like you have older sister. I'm the youngest of three. I'm the only boy. You know what I mean? So I'm the baby. I'm the baby and I'm the baby boy. So my middle sister Yolanda, she was really quiet. You know what I mean? Just naturally quiet. You know what I mean? My older sister, she did the go-go bands and just all kind of like background singing and all kind of stuff like that. You know what I mean? So basically, you know what I mean, at one point she got a chance to go sing background for Crystal Waters when she was doing 100%. You know what I mean? I still remember it to this day. They was like, yo, Quinice going to Japan. She going to Japan for what? Like, she's singing background for Crystal Waters. So that's when I really first realized that it could be something. You know what I mean? And at that point, she had been trying for a minute. You know what I mean? Just different things, bad managers, bad teams, bad, just bad business. And I don't know how she came across the Crystal Waters thing. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm good. Appreciate it. Yeah, I had to find somewhere real quick to do the interview. You know what I mean? Because we keep doing all these interviews. I'm like, I can't keep doing it in the same place. So I tried to go somewhere that was quiet. So I had the head of the HOA come make sure that he locked down the spot for me real quick. It's a couple cats over there, doing a little barbecue. But anyways, so Quinice basically did it, and I looked up to my older sister. You know what I mean? And now imagine as a male, a young black male, looking up to your older sister. You know what I mean? Now, she had her spat. She did her thing. She was always like MCM and all that when it first came out. She had the original MCM. You know what I mean? Like, I just looked up to her for fashion and stuff like that, and shoes and Harachis and Chucks and stuff like that. So it didn't matter what she did, I wanted to do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's basically what it was. You know what I mean? I just didn't. I didn't look at it from I'm gonna end up in music type of place. I didn't have no big brothers. I had big sisters. So out of my big sisters, I picked the one that I envied the most, and it was her. You know what I mean? And she was good. It's funny now because she asked me for advice now, which is weird. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's where I got it from. Like my shoe game and all that. I have a shoe problem because of my sister.
How many pairs you got right now, would you say?
I don't know. I don't keep them, man. You know what I mean? I honestly don't keep them. I wear shoes until the crease get bent in the toe, and then I start wearing them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't even count them. Like people be counting, like, oh, I got 3,000 pairs of shoes. Like, but it's only 365 days in a year,
Yeah.
and you wearing at least a pair of those shoes twice. So what is that? You know, to me, I never counted them. You know, now how much money have I spent on shoes? That's a little different. You know what I mean? But how many do I have? You know, I don't really know the answer to that question.
I hear you, man. So in the beginning, you said your big sister. What was she listening to at the time? Like, do you remember the first album you would have bought with your own money? Like, you went to the record store and you're like, "Oh, I got to get this album." Do you remember what it would have been around that time?
The first album. So the first album would have been at the time cassette tapes. CDs wasn't even a thing yet. So my first cassette tape I bought was probably All Eyes on Me.
Word.
Yeah, Tupac. Um, I don't know. It's just, you know, he died in '96. Um, at the time in '96, I think I was in ninth grade. You know, I remember hearing that he passed away, and you know, we all heard about the shooting, and then it was like, oh, he good. He got shot before. He gonna come out of that. You
Yeah,
know, so
everyone
we
thought he
we
was gonna make it.
we forgot about it for like a week. It was like seven. I remember 7 days exactly. And then I remember Big Tig was still on WPGC at the time in DC, Big Tigger. And I just so happened to be listening to it coming home. And it was basically like, yo, we got the word that, you know, Tupac passed away. And so that was pretty much because R&B was easy to get. R&B was easy to hide. It was easy to listen to. It was all of that. Like my mom, preacher, pastor, you know what I mean? And I was like, she not gonna let me listen to the pop. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was definitely the first one that I got, bro.
So did you have to sneak around with that Pac tape? Like, did you have to have headphones? Like, she probably wouldn't let you play that in the house. I'm guessing.
I mean, that wasn't the only thing that I listened to. You know what I mean? Like I was listening to Scarface. I think Scarface album was cracking at the time. Tupac album was cracking at the time. Um, Goody Mob was cracking at the time. Hide It, boy, what? Yeah, that was before you know people realized that you had to put stuff under the mattress to hide it. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't a known part of the game yet. So when people was hiding money and guns under the mattress, I was hiding cassette tapes.
Before the mattress became the first place that parents looked, before they caught on to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I was hiding cassette tapes. Yep.
That's what's up, man. So when you first started, like, do you remember the first time you would have performed in front of like an audience, like when you first started getting into music?
The first time I performed in front of an audience was, and I always talk about this, and because this is a song that I do in my live set all the time is Genuine. It's So Anxious,
And he's from
and
actually where you're from, right?
yeah,
DC.
yeah, he's from the DMV.
Yeah.
Along with a long line of entertainers and award winners, but at the time, I don't even remember how we got the connection because at the time I was in my group and he needed he always liked to have
295.
four background singers. Yeah, I was in 295. So he always liked to have four background singers, and at the time, I think he was working with three, and then one fell off. So me and the second lead singer, Otis, my guy Otis from Southeast, he, me and him went and we did the background thing. So we're adding in with a guy named Big Red, who is Dave Hollis's little brother, blood brother. Um, Another cat. He would hate for me to call his real name, but we just called him Rookie because at the time when we came in, he was the rookie, so everybody called him Rook, you know. And then it was me and Otis, and that was the first time I actually saw a stage like that. You know, we performing in Anaheim, California, and it was about maybe I say 10 to 15,000. It's like one of the little small Anaheim venues,
Dang.
and it was like 10 to 15,000. And I was taking notes the whole time because at this time I'm the leader of my group. So everything that we interact with or everything we come in contact with, I have to take notes. So when it comes to us, you know, I have to think. I'm taking stuff back to my group, even though two of us are here and two of us aren't. When we go back, I have to be like, yo, this is what G did. This is what, you know what I mean? And amazing, bro. You know what I mean? That's the first time I realized that the you know, groupie love, 50 Cent, groupie love,
Yeah.
that's real, bro. Like I didn't realize it until that exact moment that that's a real thing. You know what I mean? A lot of people like, yo, how many groupies you got? One, I don't think anybody counts them, and two, for me at that time, groupie was a new term to me. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that I'm just like, I can't wait for the groupies. It was just like, well, are we allowed to do this? And I had to ask genuine people, can we do this? And they like, oh man, G not coming up here, like whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just because we were background singers, bro.
And you were still getting love.
We were background singers, bro. And it's amazing to see the power of entertainment and music, bro. You know what I mean? So,
How
I
old would you
mean,
have been? Like, would this been high school age or?
no, at this time I was, man, at this time I was 20. I was 20. I was 19 going on 20 when this happened. You know what I mean? And then not long after that, he was like, "Oh, I like him." And then you know, my other bandmate Otis, he took him too. But I don't know. People always kind of gravitated towards me, and we did like the last season of the Jenny Jones show. I don't know if you remember Jenny Jones.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
She's actually
So
from Canada. It's crazy. The last dude
yeah,
I interviewed, Shad, he's the host of the Hip Hop Evolution documentary on Netflix. I don't know if you saw it,
I
but
haven't. I haven't.
yeah, but
And that's
she,
probably because I've done my research just before that came out. But yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
yeah, because she went to his same high school. And I was gonna ask you about high school. Did you go to T.C. Williams High School?
I went to three different high schools. I went
Okay.
to my first high school was Mount Vernon High School, Mount Vernon Majors on the highway. So if you hear anybody say you from the highway or you from yeah, basically if you from the highway, it's like if you from the highway, you from town. Town was like the middle of Alexandria City. The highway was basically like Richmond Highway. You know what I mean? And so I went to Mount Vernon High School, 9th and 10th. I went to Forestville High School. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I went to Forestville High School, 9th grade. I went to Mount Vernon High School, 10th and 11th. And then I started my 12th grade year at Mount Vernon, got into it with some folks, and then I ended up graduating from T.C. Williams. Yeah. So remember the Titans. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. That's
Yeah,
the
for sure.
team from the movie, and like, I'm not sure the calculation, but that movie would have probably came out around when you were high school age. So was that like a thing? Like, was it a big thing at the school when the movie came out? Was it like, what was the environment like when that shit hit?
Yeah, nah. When the movie came out, it was actually the movie came out like maybe what year did the movie come out? 2000.
2000.
Yeah, I graduated in '99. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it came out the year after I graduated. But the fun fact about that is like my mom is one of 11, and when the Remember the Titans whole situation happened with bringing in a new coach and all of that, my mom was a cheerleader at the time.
No
She was one.
way.
She was one of two black cheerleaders on the cheerleading squad, and she was her brothers and sisters were part of the guinea pig project when they first integrated that school. Like the reason why that movie is big is because that was the first year that they actually integrated the school. Before that it was white, black over here, white over here, black over here. That was the first year that they actually integrated the school. So yeah, my mom was a cheerleader. She was I mean obviously they wasn't giving out rings and stuff to cheerleaders, but she was definitely on the cheer squad, and that's a story past the movie, past Denzel Washington. That's a story that is deep in my family roots. You know what I mean? And then for me to graduate from there, you know, fun fact: when Bill Clinton was still president, our school was the only high school that he visited in the Washington D.C. area because our school was so diverse. Yeah,
That's
so
dope, man.
yeah, he visited the school my 12th grade year. They shut the whole school down, bro. We couldn't go nowhere. That was the
So was
first
it
day we
like,
didn't have to go to all our classes.
so was it crazy security like all surrounding the school? Was there like snipers on the roof? Like what type of shit was it?
Um, Now I can't tell you if it was snipers on the roof or not, but what I can tell you is, uh, they didn't warn us. You know what I mean? It was like I want to say it was like maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday, and we came to school, and I don't even remember because I hated my first period class. I didn't like my teacher, and she told us all like, so we're going to have to spend an extra hour here today. And we bucking like we thinking it's her. Like, what are you talking about? Extra hour? Like, no, this is just homeroom. Like, and my homeroom was drama, so we really didn't care about it. It's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they started explaining it to us. And then my mom worked at the school, so they basically had to do a sweep, but they waited till we all got there, you know, and then they sweeped everything else because he wasn't like going to go into any of the classrooms or anything like that. It was just like he was going to go talk to the principal, and then a select group of all of the smart kids got a chance to go sit in and talk to him. Which at that time I wasn't a part of that, but
You weren't a part of that group?
no, no, sir, nah, I wasn't. And it's not because I didn't want to. I just, they went off of what your curriculum was, like what it was, like what you were doing with your high school basically career. And for me, I've been going through so much at that time. I'm like, I'm gonna graduate. That was my focus, graduating. So it wasn't, what if a president comes here? You know what I mean? So, but it was cool. You know what I mean? Like we got to see him. Like they didn't keep us from seeing him, but they just had to do what they had to do first. And then it was kind of like, okay, well you can see him leaving. Like they
Yeah.
let us see him leaving. You know what I mean? So, but it's all good. Remember the Titans for sure.
That's crazy, man. So when you left, you mentioned 295 earlier. When you left 295, you actually had a situation with Jazzy Faye showing
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
And then I read somewhere that, you were trying to get your shit popping off, but that's when the same time that Sierra took off. So what was like the feeling going on in your head at that point? Was it like, damn, now I gotta wait around, or like, were you forced to wait? Was your shit on hold at that time?
Nah, by that time I kind of like it's a lot of stuff about the industry that a lot of people don't hear, and they don't hear how things go on, and different what's the word I'm looking for, like different disagreements and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So she was already kind of dealing with the whole stigma of who discovered Sierra, you know what I mean? So the person that moved me to Atlanta with my group, TA, he is the one that originally signed Tierra, and because of his relationships coming from Noontime, which was basically the umbrella for Show Enough, which was Jazzy, he was like, well, I'm gonna get her with Jazzy, and let's get some records off of Jazzy or whatever. So basically what ended up happening is, in that transition of her doing records with Jazzy, this big kind of confusion happened where everybody was trying to stake claim to Sierra, including the person that brought me to Atlanta. So once I left the group, I left Music Line, which that's TA Tape. And
Okay.
yeah, so Music Line, it was Music 101, Music Line, blah, blah, blah. That was all TA. He signed me, Sierra, Kiki Palmer, Trey from ATL, Erica Rivera from Disney. Like he was great at finding talent. So in that transition of me leaving him, they were going through this whole argument of who discovered Sierra.
So
You know what I
basically,
mean?
he must have felt like maybe he's losing two artists now. Like you left, and then the
Pretty
Sierra
much.
thing.
So when I went to Show Enough, which is strictly Jazzy, under the umbrella of Noontime, my biggest argument was, because I was learning the business, I knew that if you can't make something happen in 6 months, it's probably not going to happen. Not saying that it'll never happen, but if it doesn't happen in 6 months, it's probably not gonna happen.
You should change something. So that's a
Right.
general rule. Like if 6 months, if you don't see it kind of starting, then
I
it's
mean,
probably a good idea to pivot.
because of what I was involved with. Like you might deal
Yeah.
with a new company that doesn't have any kind of like relationships or anything like that. I would not advise anybody to just leave the company after 6 months. But because of what I saw, but because of what I knew was what was capable of and things that I saw happening around me, I knew 6 months was the deadline. So that's the deadline that I gave Shonuff. You know what I mean? I said, I'll sign to you guys, but if nothing happens in 6 months, because you got to remember, I just left a group. So me signing to a label is nothing but me obligating myself to a new situation.
Yeah.
So I basically said, in 6 months, if you can't make something shake for me, I'm with your premier producer. And we did some great records, but Goodies is like her bed. There was nothing nobody was going to do to stop Goodies at all. You know what I mean? And she had been working and working just like I had been until she got Goodies. And when Goodies popped, it was we on Sierra. We gotta.
Yeah.
It's like all hands on deck. You know, like not to compare it to this, but you know, like when you have a police officer gets shot, and it's like everything drops and everybody
Yeah.
runs to that scene. That's
Yeah.
basically what the situation was.
So it
It
was
was
just
like,
all Sierra at
yeah,
that point.
all Sierra, and it came at like my 5th month. So it was like, well, you know, and it took me like 2 months to actually get them to answer the phone and sign the release because they were so
So you couldn't
involved.
even get a hold of them, like to even get
They
released.
were busy. They were busy, and it
That's
was nothing personal. They were just busy. You know what I mean? They were just really busy. I don't think really anybody understands what kind of time and attention goes into something that big. I mean, I do
yeah.
now because of Bed, but you got to think I didn't even have Bed then, so I'm just like I was proud of my sis, man. Like that's my sister, you know what I mean? Like I was proud to see
Yeah.
her actually pop, you know what I mean? And I couldn't be mad, like for real, seriously. Like it wasn't that. It was when you come up in a system with somebody in a close like family system, like you have, you know how like you have different high schools or different schools, and it's like I know that person from that school, and y'all
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
graduated together, but we all went to the same school. You understand what I'm saying? So it wasn't like I was looking across town. It was like that's shorty from over here.
Tight knit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy to see her win. You know what I mean? And I mean it hurt, but it wasn't the type of hurt that I felt disappointed or I felt anybody did anything that was against what they promised me. You know what I
So
mean?
was this around the time? Was that situation kind of what inspired the song "Back of My Lack"? Because I heard that was like kind of your giving up song. Like you were like, "Fuck this." Like that was the kind of song that was your giving up song. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Goodies hit, and then I did my release, and then so like the first stint of me leaving my group was me doing records with Jazzy, just trying to find a new sound, just trying to find like what was I didn't even have Jay Holiday wasn't even my name yet. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was still calling me the name for my group, which I won't say. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. But like at that time, I didn't have a sound. I didn't have a stage name. I didn't have any of that yet. So it didn't hurt because I wasn't attached to anything. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't attached. Like when I signed to Shonuff was right around the time Lloyd was leaving Shonuff. You know what I mean? He had already done Murder Inc. and then he came to Shonuff and so on and so on. So that's how I know Lloyd. But it was stressful, bro. But Back of My Lack came out of months after that. You know, I get out of my deal. I'm dealing with people that I know. I see people. They're driving brand new cars, living in mansions. Big sister made it. Well, shit, little sis for real, in age. Sister made it. Just seeing everybody win around you just becomes like a disappointment kind of factor. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, well, what am I doing wrong? Or what do I need to do? Or do people not like my music? Is it me? Or whatever. And I spent so much time away from home already. So I told everybody, I said, yo, you know what? I need a break. And I'm gonna go home for a second. Which home? When I say home, I mean DC. So I went home. I drove home. I drove in my car. And I had some unfinished other business up there that I needed to shut down. But I drove home, and there was only one person that I knew that I would get in the studio with, which was my manager, Corey Green, his cousin, Quincy Lowe. And I got a feeling. I was like, yo, what y'all doing tonight? He was like, nothing. And so in my mind, I'm like, what you mean y'all doing nothing? I'm coming from a go place. I'm like, what y'all mean y'all doing nothing? He's like, I mean, you know, we always working on music, but I mean, we ain't really doing nothing. All right, set up the studio. So I went through, he played a track, and Back of My Life is basically what came out. It was just kind of like, the way the track was making me feel was I was internalizing all of the disappointment and pain and shit like that. You know, I was a big cognac drinker, Hennessy, whatever cognac, weed smoker, and that's just basically what came out. Like, I have to release this energy some kind of way, but I wanted to do it in the form of a song that wouldn't just feed me releasing it. So, I mean, I feel like I accomplished what I was trying to do, but that's how Back of My Life came out, man. I was really like, I was at home for like a month and a half, and I did that song probably like a month in. And I was just like, if nothing sends me back to Atlanta, I'm not going back. So once I did that song, I called my manager. I said, yo, I got a song for you. He said, let me hear it. I said, nope, I'm on the way back to Atlanta. Because I knew, even learning what I learned, you don't just play stuff. When it's something that's special, you don't just play it over the phone. I
Yeah.
can't email it to you. So I'm actually literally coming back to Atlanta to play y'all this song.
That's crazy.
And I got back, and I think we might have like sent him like the first verse. And he was like, all right, send it to me when you're done. I said, no, when I'm done, I'm dropping back down. Because they basically was like, you know, damn, what's going on with you? I was like, that's just how I felt. You know, listen to a lot of D'Angelo on the way up the highway and stuff like that. So I was definitely about to give up, man.
No, man, that
I was
shit
about to
hit.
quit.
That shit hit me. That shit had a different energy. Like I won't even lie. I wasn't even like a huge R&B fan growing up, but there was something about that was just so different, man. It spoke to me. Like it got me through some shit, man. So I definitely thank you for that record. That's one of my favorite songs of all time, man. 100%.
I appreciate it. And I've heard that from different people, like from people that was locked up and different people that was going through different things. I've been told that that song alone helped somebody from, you know, kept somebody from committing suicide, and seeing my story and being like, okay, I can still do it. If he was about to give up, I can do it. And just people locked up, like, yo, if it wasn't for that song, like, you know, and some people say album, but it's like, you know, I've been specifically told about certain songs like Pimpin' Me, Thug Commandments, Back of My Life. But those are the songs like for my homies that was locked up, that they just told me, bro, that it got me through, bro. So I'm happy that I was able to add somebody's positivity, you know.
That must be rewarding, knowing you're in such a tough place, and knowing that maybe there is some light that can come out of some rough times, rough patches like that.
Well, I mean, you never know where you're gonna get your uplift from. You know what I mean? And music helps so many people. That's why, you know, in some of the comments that I made online or whatever, It wasn't that I was hating on the artist or I was hating the music or I didn't like the songs. It's just like in our society, bro, like we need stuff that works with us and not against us. You know what I mean? Even a song that you can listen to where it's like, ah man, F this and F that and whatever. That's all negative. It feels good while you're listening to it, but it's essentially negative. You know what I mean? And I was happy that my music could add something positive to somebody's life. You know, I might have kept somebody out of the hole, out of solitary confinement for all I know. You know what I mean? I haven't delved that deep into conversations because I don't like to go into people's business. It's like I
Yeah.
helped you, cool. I'm happy I could. You know what I mean? But you know, man, music is a funny thing, bro. It can help or hurt.
No, man, I agree 100%. And like I said, some of that shit was the soundtrack to my life, man. I'm actually from Nova Scotia, Canada. I don't know if you
Okay.
remember performing here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I think it was like 2013. You actually performed in my neighborhood. And I don't think there's ever been another show at that like local bar ever. And that shit was like one of the craziest memories to me because like this music that was pretty much like the soundtrack of my high school, like I get to see it in an up close personal venue. And you even came to the barbershop and kicked it with us. Like
So let
you
me tell
were
you something. Let me tell you something funny about Halifax, right? So we have a Halifax out here in the States.
yeah, because I heard Petey Pablo say it on North Carolina. He said Halifax. So I was like,
Boy, Halifax ain't where you want to be. So mentally, I'm already drained with the name. So I was coming in with a negative thought, like, man, this is gonna be spoiled, whatever. And it was dope, bro. You know what I mean? Like the people was out, everybody was friendly. There wasn't no haters. Like, you know, you'd be surprised. I go to some cities and it be haters. And sometimes it's haters because that's the guy in the city, his girl want to come take a picture. And it's like, bro, but I'm here for a couple hours, bro. It ain't that serious. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But I had a very, very good time out there with y'all, man.
I remember a girl was trying to dance on me, and I was like, "Leave me alone! I'm trying to watch the show." I was like pushing her away.
It
I was
happens
zoned in, man.
it happens like that. It happens like that for sure.
Yeah, man. Like I didn't want to. I wasn't trying to dance and listen to Back of My Lack. Like that's a, you know what I mean? That's like a life changing moments for me. So I wanted to enjoy it, man.
Right.
But yeah. No, man. I want to ask you. So you had a single "Be With Me" that was before Bed,
Hold
and
on.
then
Real quick. Hold on. You need me to go?
No, you good.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure they won't still.
Oh no, they did that. All right. Go ahead, bro. My bad.
no, it's all good. So you had a song "Be With Me," which was before Bed, and then a guy by the name of Ronnie Johnson came in, and that's how Bed came about. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's who cut the check for bet. Yep. That's exactly
That's
right, bro.
crazy.
Um
And is it true
and Ronnie
Chris Brown wanted it too? He wanted the record as well.
I'm not gonna say he wanted it, you know what I mean? It was sent to him. You know what I mean? It was, and it's so funny because a lot of people been asking me because I know Dream been doing interviews and stuff, and he's telling everybody this story about Jay-Z, which is true, you know. But the problems that were already happening between me and Dream were already in place. You know what I mean? So by the time Jay said that to him, it was kind of like,
What did Jay say? I'm sorry, I think I missed that.
nah, Jay basically was like, cause like it keeps coming up in different ways. So one minute is Jay said, "Don't give it to him, keep it for yourself." Jay never said that. Jay never told Dream to keep Bed for herself. He just said, if you give the song Bed to Jay, it's gonna be a problem. And that's because of why Dream went to Jay in the first place. It's a whole conversation that happened before they talked about that song. You know what I mean? And which I wasn't there for, but you know, as the years go on, people keep telling pieces of stories, and stories come back to you in little bits and pieces, and then you put 1, 2, and 3 and 4 together, and it's like, oh, okay, this is what happened. So Jay never told him to keep the song away from me for any specific reason than what was going on between me and Dream at the time. It had nothing to do with it would have been better for Dream or it would have been better for Chris. I don't even think Chris got a chance to actually listen to the record before we actually bought it. You know, and for people like Chris, at that time, he wouldn't have cut the check as fast as we did anyway, just because Chris was popping, you know what I mean? So he didn't have a reason to cut a check for one song. Not $100,000 check. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, like Dream, that's my guy, and I've heard so many different reasons of why he don't rock with me, or he didn't. I'm not gonna say he don't now, but at one point in time, he was telling people he don't rock with me, and you know, I'm not gonna go into details about it, but in my own personal way, I've tried to rectify all of that, you know, because none of it was intentional. You know what I mean? It's just, if you got a problem with your girl, I'm not gonna mess up my business to get in the problem with you and your girl.
Yeah.
And that's basically the kind of situation that it was. Like, he ain't have nothing to do with what was going on, but he was a little closer friends with somebody else, and that's basically what happened.
Word, that's crazy.
Over a chick, by the way. So
You said
yeah.
what?
Over a chick, by the way. See, nobody wants to tell the real story.
Damn, that's crazy.
Until they tell the real story, I'm not gonna tell the real story. We can keep playing the whole Jay-Z said this and blah blah blah, and you and Dream beefing and blah. No, let's tell the real story of why we beefing, and I'll say yes or no, because I know why we were beefing in the first place, and it had nothing to do with me and Dream. Me and Dream never personally had a beef, ever.
So it was just circumstance.
It was circumstance, you know. I mean, circumstance in relationships. You know, that just is what it is, man. I'm never gonna throw nobody under the bus, bro.
That's crazy, man. No, but that's, man, that's good. Someone just asked a question in the comments. If Tory Lanez wanted to do Bed remix for his Chicks tape, I don't know if you've seen his Chicks tape series where he been remixing all the classics and stuff. Would that be something you would do?
He not gonna do it.
You don't think?
He not gonna do it because when I said what I said about Jacquees, he jumped on Jacquees' side. So for him, I don't think that that's something that he would even spend time doing. You know what I mean? I feel how I feel about a lot of these young cats out here. You know, that just is what it is. There was a point in time where R&B was R&B, and then you had people that came in like Lloyd, me, that actually were connected to certain parts of the streets and stuff like that, and Omarion and stuff like that. Like, people don't realize, like, Omarion, that's my guy, my bro. Don't get that man twisted. You know what I'm saying? But because of how we carry ourselves, people get into this habit of just talking and just throwing stuff into the air to make conversation for different people. You know what I'm saying? I can never feel a certain kind of way until, yet again, somebody jumps into a beef that has nothing to do with them. So, am I against it? I'm not against it. You know what I mean? It doesn't bother me. That don't do nothing but keep my name going. You know what I mean? Like, that was my record on my first album that got nominated for a Grammy as an R&B artist, male, first time in history. So that doesn't bother me, you know, but you also can't go at me like you did and then do my song. That's why I say I don't think he'll do it. You know what I mean? I mean, if he's real, he's not gonna do it.
That makes sense, man.
He's not gonna do it better than me. So I'm not worried about that part. But it's just, if you play in the streets, play the streets.
No, that makes sense,
you know what
man.
I mean?
So how did your life change when that record hit? Like, cause you said you were frustrated. You made the Back of My Lag song, which was kind of like a reflection of your frustration. And now all of a sudden you got a #1 record. Like you said, you're nominated for a Grammy. Like, how quick was that process of a change? Like, did your life change overnight, or like what in your life started to change? And did it
I
bring
mean, in a
the
sense,
happiness that you thought it would? Like, you said you saw Sierra on and everyone else on. Did it bring the happiness that you thought it would, or was it just more problems when you become that big overnight?
nothing happens overnight. Overnight in this industry is like you're working years and years and years, and then overnight is I got signed and my deal wasn't done for a month and a half. My actual deal wasn't done until a month and a half. But in between that time of my finishing my deal, bed was out. So it's like nothing can really change overnight until the business is done. So I mean, overnight, yeah, in a sense, not in a bad or good way. Just am I working 6 months to get an inch, or am I working a couple hours in the studio to break a Michael Jackson record? So if you look at it like that, yeah, overnight. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. It's hard to gauge it for everybody different, man. You know what I mean? It changed my life for sure. You know what I mean? It made sure I could take care of my mom and take care of my kids and my responsibilities, fix my credit. It's a lot of things people act like don't matter no more once you get on. It's like, nah, all those problems are still there, So it helped me fix a lot of things in my life that may have gotten put to the side because I was chasing the music. I don't know, bro. Like, I've been asked this question a million times in a million different ways. Like, overnight, I wouldn't say overnight, but it definitely put me in a place where a lot of things that happen and getting nominated for awards and stuff like that, I never saw any of that coming, just because you can go sit and watch an award show and never think that you'll be nominated for it. So when I got told, yo, back in my life, I got nominated for a Grammy, and I'm like, for real? You know what I mean? And I had already been a part of the Recording Academy for 5 years already.
Do you remember
That's
where you were when you got that phone call and you found out?
I think I was at rehearsing for a tour. Honestly, you know, um, I think at the time I was on tour for sure when it happened. I want to say I was on the Keisha Cole tour, where Keisha Cole had just came out with her new album, and I was like her opener. And yeah, that's exactly where I was at, because it was my first album, my first time showing my face to everybody. So I was on Keisha Cole's tour, and I can't, I don't, I'm not sure if she had a name for the tour or what, but it was the album where Missy was on a single and all that. I don't know if you remember that album. I'm
Not
like,
sure.
damn, that's hot.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, all right. So it was that album, and so I got the call, and I had to take a break from the album. Now, mind you, in this time, I did Jay Leno. I'm doing all kind of shit during this whole time. You know what I mean? Before Jay Leno went off the air, I'm one of the last musical artists to be on Jay Leno.
That's crazy.
So all of it was be ready. Niggas always told me, be ready. And no matter how I felt about it at the time in the moment, I had to look unaffected. I had to be professional, and I had to be ready. Half of that stuff didn't hit me until after it was over. Like, oh man, I met Jay Leno. Like I was on Jay Leno. Like, a lot of people can't say they was on that.
No, man,
You know what I mean?
that's a milestone. Is that type of what's the word I'm looking for? Like chaos, something you would be that you're interested in happening again? Like, would you want to go through all that again, or are you just chilling now? You're working on your music, like, or do you, like, in your heart, do you want to have something? Do you want to have another bed and go through all that stuff again?
Well, it's different. It's not gonna be the same situation. People know me now. It'll be a different setup. Uh, I had a lot of people telling me I couldn't do stuff that I knew that I could do, but because they were more rooted in the industry, I had to follow their lead. You know what I mean? So there's things that I said yes to that I would have said no to, and there's things that I said no to that I would say yes to now. You know, it's not about the song at all. Not for me. You know what I mean? Would I do it all over again? I would do it in a heartbeat. Like this is what I do. You know what I mean? Like you have a sports player, somebody on a basketball team or somebody on a football team, let's say NBA, NFL. Do they want to be traded? No, they don't want to be traded. But it's either you trade or you retire. Which one you gonna do? You gonna trade and keep the fucking shit moving. You gonna keep it pushing to a point where now you can take your time to figure out maybe something new. But giving up is never an option. You know what I mean? Like, would I do it again in a heartbeat?
I think the beauty of music versus sports is sports. Your body ages. You get to a certain age where you can't compete with the young people anymore in
I'm
sports
here.
because it's physically demanding in sports. But in music, like you're not going to lose your voice. And I think those days of it being a young man's game is kind of over. So I think music. The beauty of music is that you can make it happen again at any time. There's more chances for a comeback story in music versus sports where your body just can't perform anymore, you know?
Well, I have to beg to differ with you on that one.
You think?
So, so let me tell you. So, even though artists don't necessarily stay in shape like uh, athletes, you know what I'm saying? When you're a professional athlete in the United States, your travel day to day, for the most part, is within the United States. Like that's where you sell. You know what I mean? You don't sell anywhere else until you retire and go do stuff in China and different things like that or whatever. Um, Entertainers are traveling around the world constantly. You know what I mean? I've been on trips where I'm taking 18 flights. 18-hour flights to be there for 10 hours to get back on the plane and do another 18-hour flight. And it may not seem the same, but it's actually a lot more trying on the body just because I don't know if you probably sat for 18 hours at home, but you could get up, do what you want to do, walk outside, get some air, go to the
Yeah.
bathroom, cook some food, whatever, you know what I mean? Smoke a blunt, whatever, smoke a cigarette, whatever. You hate the shit in the air for 18 hours. You know what I mean? And that's the only reason why I say I beg to differ because we put a hurting on our body just to still have to be ready when we get there. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta think NFL, NBA, they got private planes. They got team planes and stuff where their legs are straight and everybody on the plane is catering to them. I've taken first class flights to no class flights for hours, bro. And it beats your body up, bro. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, when you're an athlete, you don't necessarily, you have to communicate with your team, but you don't gotta talk like us. Like we gotta sing or rap, perform, meet and greets, and all of that. Not saying athletes don't have to do it, but you're so much more comfortable in your travel. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. I beat my body up for this, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, man.
I beat my body up for it.
Hey, man, I feel you. That makes a lot of sense. And speaking about flying, another one of my favorite records from you, man, is Fly. That shit actually got me through my first breakup, man, when my first girl was away at university. And I remember my boy sent it to me on MSN Messenger at the time. He's like, listen to this. And I felt like it was speaking directly to me. What can you tell us about the studio session? I heard Tank wrote that in like 30 minutes or something. What do you remember about that studio session for Fly?
Oh man, so one of my best studio sessions. Um, Tank had been somebody I looked up to for a long time before that session happened, and we did the session with co-stars out in LA. So out of round two, Fly and it was one other record that those are the only songs that I didn't record myself. The rest of the album I recorded at home. You know what I mean? I engineered them, recorded them, vocal produced, all of that. So we did Fly, and the first thing he said to me is, "I'm finally happy I can write a song for somebody that can actually sing." And for Tank to say that to me, somebody that I feel is an incredible singer, incredible producer, incredible writer, it meant a lot. You know what I mean? And so once he literally wrote the song, it might have been less than 30 minutes. He freestyled most of the song and then he went and filled it in. And I felt an obligation to make somebody from my hometown proud. So I didn't finish it in 30 minutes, but I definitely finished it in like an hour and 30. You know what I mean? He put the press on me, man, and he didn't tell me I needed to do this, but I felt obligated to get it done and get it done efficiently. And I think he was happy with it. I was happy with it, and I was also supposed to be a singer. I mean, I got messed over in a lot of my career, bro. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
How important has patience been for you? Has it taught you a lot of patience? Because it seems like you've been through so many trials and tribulations and shit going left. How important do you think patience is in this industry?
Artists usually never have patience. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. You know, it's something that I've had to learn. I still don't have much of it when it comes to what I know I'm capable of and what I know I want to see. But something that I always tell people is team, 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 team. And I've went through a few different teams, and I wouldn't sit and throw any last one of them under the bus. Like, just because they don't work with me anymore doesn't mean that they weren't important at that moment that I needed. You know what I'm saying? It's team. My team helps me be patient. My team is starting to realize I'm very hands on because I'm always afraid of somebody making a decision for me and then me having to go back and throw their decision under the bus because they didn't know what I was going to say. So the team that I have now is very in tune with who I am as a person, as I grow from day to day, because it changes. And something that you have to learn as an artist is not patience; it's communication. You have to communicate. Like if you have your team, you have to learn how to communicate with your team. That you know what, today isn't who I was yesterday, and let them know, and let them fix it like they fix everything else instead of just I guess the expression I use is nutting up on people. You know what I mean? It's easy to do that, and every artist does it. You don't hear about every artist, but it's team, man. Like if you don't have a team, you don't got nothing. You can have the talent, you can have everything in the world. You don't got no team, you're gonna be lost in the sauce.
No, I agree 100%, man. Speaking of team, um, two individuals that's a part of your new team, Milk and Sis, that's fam to me. I did a writing camp with them in Atlanta when I was down there. Um, do you remember when you
Okay, you
met
was there
Milk
for
and
that?
Sis? I heard you
They
did.
didn't invite me.
What's the
They
damn?
didn't
I wish
invite
they
me
would
to
have
that.
invited
It's
you.
cool. Nah, it's cool. All right, Milk says I got something for you. Nah, I'm messing with you. Go ahead.
No, do you remember meeting them? And I heard you didn't want to meet them at first. I heard you kind of brushed them off at first.
Nah, well, I never met them personally in the beginning. I got played some tracks by another artist that at the time I thought the artist was mediocre. You know, Um, they played me another male artist, R&B, and I mean, at the time I thought it was mediocre. You know what I mean? And then you gotta think like in this industry, they teach you that if it's not Timberland or if it's not Rodney Jergens or if it's not uh, one of those big names, that it's trash. You know. So when I heard these records, I wasn't listening to the potential of the records. I'm listening to it of, all right, whatever. It wasn't a good or bad thing. Didn't like the artist, producer, writer. All right, you know. And then years later, you start to realize that everybody's growing. I wasn't thinking about they were growing at the time. I was thinking about Bed, Suffocate, Grammy,
Yeah.
Fat Joe. Like, I wasn't thinking about none of that. You know what I'm saying? And I've had to swallow my pride with them a few times. You know, and it's a constant joke, you know, like I love them. Like that's like my family. They absolutely understand who I am as an artist. Like absolutely. And on top of that, they actually won Grammys. You know what I mean? Like Milk and Sis have won Grammys. And it was around the same time. So we were all going through the same thing. And I don't know if they can attest to this, but they've also dealt with different people that sometimes you just don't see the growth. And for me, I was bullheaded, man. You know, I was so used to being the leader of my group, the one that knew the contracts, the one that found the managers, the one that everybody wants to sign. Like, it goes to your head after a while. You know what I mean? And it took a time to not talk to them. And I think at one point they was like, whatever. We don't care. Say, all right. But they never stopped loving me as an artist. You know, we didn't know each other personally. And then I think we had that conversation for like a whole hour, 2 hours about how I curved them, you know. And then on top of that, how much I loved what they were doing, you know, which was way different. Once we ran back into each other, what they were doing was way different.
Oh, they're incredible.
So I don't know if it was timing or if it was ego on my part or what it was, but that's my family. You know what I mean? Like, I love them to death.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gonna cut us off. It's giving me the countdown. I know you're busy. If you don't have time to come back on, but I'd love to just wrap up with like one or two more things on what you're working on now, man. If you have time to come back on.
Okay.
Just right now, because it gives us it cuts us off after an hour. It's like counting down right now.
I got you.
Okay, cool. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Oh, no, you good, bro.
Yeah. So the new record you're working on, Time. Can you tell us anything about that? When it's coming, and maybe just some of the direction you guys been going in for it?
So first and foremost, you know, which is funny how we just ended talking about Milk and Sis. So I put out Guilty Conscience, and I extremely tried to involve them in that whole situation and process, but they got hated on. And because of contractual obligations that I had, I couldn't fight for them, you know. And so after that situation fell through and the album was missed and wasted songs and wasted time, I called Sis and I was just basically like, bro, like, I don't care what we do. The next album is going to be done with you and Milk. And he was like, nah, man, don't play with us. Like, no, seriously. I'm letting you know now that I trust what you guys do business-wise, and I trust what you do creatively-wise. And I owe this to y'all. You know what I mean? And they've always been very open to how I was feeling, what I was going through. and what I wanted to portray to the people. So time just came up. Um, I think time came up off a song that they already had written by Aaron Lamont. Um, and I don't know, it just fell into what we were thinking about, and just talking about how time passes and time had to pass for everything to fall in line for me, Milton says. Time has to pass with business. Time has to pass with emotions. Time has to pass with uh, exception and just like your self responsibility and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's just what happened, man. And the sound it's it's growing, but it's still Jay. You know what I mean? Like it's still Holiday. It's still gonna be Milk and Sis. I think if you combine me and Milk and Sis at any given point, you're gonna get some music. You'll get passion. You know what I mean? So
Hey man, I can't wait. Do we got like a timeline when it's coming, or you still working on it?
man, the timeline was supposed to be quarantine timeline, so I don't know. We gotta wait. Like we really personable people. We like to touch people. We like to sit and talk face to face and have fellowships with people. So it's kind of hard to say. You know what I mean? We don't mind doing the streaming and all of that, but that's just not who we are. You know what I mean? So we definitely had a rollout for the album, but right now we could even start throwing stuff out now. But like right now, people's safety and people's families and stuff like that is way more important to us than that. Like the music is done, it's solidified. That's not a worry. So I mean, the timeline will be once we start getting back to normal. You know what I mean?
You're done with it, like completely. Like you're not still working on ideas, or you're not writing new records for it. Like it's solidified. It's done.
No, it's done. I mean, at the end of the day, we still have like maybe 3 records to do. Like we have like 3 records to finish. That either got started or stuff like that. But just between life and rest in peace, Milton says, they lost a couple people, personal to them. You know, 2 brothers. And then shortly after that, the coronavirus thing happened. So something that they've never tried to do with me and I'll never try to do with them is rush them. Life happens. So it's gonna be how me, Milk and Sis wanted to happen. And the people just they're gonna have to wait for it. I mean, it's
It's
nothing to
on your
take away.
time.
Yeah, it's on our time. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing to take away from the fans or people that love us, but you want us to be into it. You don't want us to just put it out and then don't have the energy or the mindset to promote it or talk about it. Like we've been hit left, right, left, right, left, right. So, it's just timing, man. It's all timing, bro. You know what I mean? And those are probably 2 of the only people that I actually get emotional about. But they've had my back sometimes when normal people would be like, "Oh, no, Jay curved us." But I think they also had a bigger understanding of what my talent was and what I was going through. So, you know.
Hey man, well I'm sure it'll be worth the wait. I can't wait. Man, I cannot wait to hear it. Just a few more questions, man, before we go, just to wrap up. Who is Jeffrey? Who is Jeffrey with the tequila?
Hey, so, oh man, it's too long of a story to tell because I would actually have to tell the story of when we realized Jeffrey was a person. But Jeffrey's my inner white boy. So um, I'm entitled. I'm drunk. I'm wild. I don't care. Let's do whatever. I run everything. Shut up. I don't want to hear nothing. On tequila is Jeffrey. Yeah.
That's Jeffrey.
Good.
Hey man,
He's
hopefully
been banned from my life though. So
I was gonna say I want to do a record with Milk and Sis and Jeffrey one day, man.
No, sir. No, you don't. No, you don't. Boy, I promise you don't want to hear that. I don't even
No,
think
that's what's
Jeffrey
up.
got no musical talent.
No, hey, Jeffrey's too big for music, hey.
Nah, Jeffrey's too big for drinking. He need to stop. Yeah, no, Jeffrey's my guy.
No, that's what's up, man. Hey, do you have any bucket list collab like that you could, if you could work with somebody that before it's all said and done, on a collab, what would that dream collab look like?
Wyclef.
Wyclef, wow,
Yep.
that would be crazy.
I'm gonna say that to the day I die. It'll happen or it won't happen, and I'm not gonna feel any type of way either or. But there's not many people that I've looked up to musically or paid attention to as much musically as him. I mean, I could say Tupac, but obviously that ain't gonna happen. So,
Yeah.
I could say Tupac, Marvin Gaye, but definitely Wyclef, man. He has a different understanding of how things come together. You know what I mean? So.
No, that's what's up. That's a good choice. We always end the show with, it's usually MCs on here, so it's usually top 5 rappers. I don't know if you want to do R&B or you want to. I would like to hear the rappers actually. If we could do top 5, just your top 5 personal favorite rappers in history that have had the most impact on you and got the most spins in your deck. If you could pick a top 5.
Most spins and top 5. All right. Number 1, Tupac. Number 2, Nas.
It's my number 1.
Number 3, I can't say Goody Mob, but CeeLo. Back when he, before all the singing and stuff, like CeeLo Green. Number 4. Number 4, man, I had to say J. Cole, bro.
Wow.
And number 5, just because I can't leave him off the list, is Wyclef. You know what I mean? I have other people I listen to, but those are people I won't skip records on. You know what I mean?
That's a dope list, man. I always find it interesting to hear.
I can listen to their list.
No, that's what's up. That's a dope list, man. Well, yo, I just want to say thank you so much, man, for doing this. Like, I truly appreciate it. Milk and Sis, thank you guys for helping me set this up. D, thank you. Man, I truly appreciate it, man. Thank you for the time.
I appreciate you, bro, man. We'll make something else happen, man. Soon some new music and all that stuff come out, bro.
Yes, sir. I was gonna tell you, man, you're one of my dream collabos, so I hope that can happen one day. I'm just putting that in the universe, man.
Let's do it. Let's figure it out. Shit. If Milk and Sis vouching for you, I'm good. We good.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. Be safe.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
Okay, man. Peace.
Yes, sir.